Good evening. My name is Padam Bregmi. I'm a president of American Nepal Helping Society. Today, as we know that Nepal got an earthquake about 2 months before, and the US government decided to grant Nepalese community to TPS. So today is our program based on TPS and some other related immigration issue. That's why we requested USCIS officer to come and share what is TPS and what is rest other immigrant issue. So today I would like to introduce the USCIS Community Relation Officer, Ms. Gloria Williams Waiver. Would you like to come to the front, please? And I would like to welcome USCIS Public Affairs Officer, Ms. Leonie M. Ferreira. Would you like to come to the front? Request to have a seat for Anne Fon. Miss Anne Fon, would you please go to the front and have a seat? And I would like to request Mr. Dr. Lava Casey to have a seat in the front. I would like to request to the front. And I would like hassle to raise all this traffic, but the meantime is needy things, and we like to share and we like to help our needy community people. So, and I would like to thank you, Mr. Ram Karel from the Sagarmatha TV. He's I think one of the reputed Nepalese community-based television entrepreneur. And Mr. Thapadai to represent our local media. And I would like to request our communities, our society's advisor, Mr. Dr. Anup Pahari, to run today's program. Professionally, he's a doctor, and I think he has lots of contributes for our Nepalese society for I think it's 3 decades on Northern Virginia. He's really helpful, kindly, and he's our kinds of parents on our organization and our society. I'd like to welcome Mr. Dr. Anup Pahari to this stage. Thank you.
नमस्ते, मेरो नाम अनुप पहाडी हो। यहाँहरु सबैलाई यहाँ हार्दिक स्वागत छ। म केही बेरपछि केही छिनको for the kind introduction, and once again I would like to thank the American Nepal Helping Society for this very timely, important and significant opportunity to discuss matters that are of some urgency to the Nepali community. The Nepali community in the Northern Virginia area is concentrated in a number of pockets, and increasingly Manassas, Virginia is among the most dense Nepali settlements in the Northern Virginia area. And we're very proud and very happy to welcome in our midst Madame Gloria Williams Waiver, who is the Community Relations Officer for the Washington District Office of the United States Department of Homeland Security, USCIS. Madame Joanne M. Pereira, who is the Public Relations Officer, also from the same office. And Anne Phan, the outreach representative from the office of Senator Mark R. Warner. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we will get to the information session shortly. I'd also like to thank a long-time friend as well as an attorney in the Nepali community, Mr. Karki, in our midst. Thank you for coming, Babaji. After we hear from Ms. Brevar, and before we begin the question and answer session, Attorney Karki, we will ask Attorney Karki to share with us some of the typical concerns and questions that have come to his office post June 24. Now, just a quick background. June 24 was the day when the temporary protective status was officially approved for Nepalis. And we are all aware that the background for this is the devastation that Nepal faced starting April 25th. Or was it April? Yeah, 25th. Right? April 25th, and subsequently 3 serious earthquakes have taken place in Nepal. Almost 1 million homes have been wrecked. Hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people in fact, are homeless. They have no shelter. And unfortunately, Mother Nature is not done with Nepal yet. Every day, all of us call back home to hear news that there's been a new tremor, a new shake. Seismologists around the world are not certain that the geological activity is completed. And now, to complicate things even further, the monsoon rains have started. So the 3 earthquakes have loosened up the mountainsides all across the north-central part of Nepal. And the rains now are washing down the mountain soils and causing further hazards. So this is the context in which the United States government has taken notice of the plight of Nepalis so far away and has decided that this is the timely and the right thing to do. And we are very grateful to this wonderful country of immigrants that has welcomed millions and millions of immigrants into her arms over the centuries. That we are a new group, but when pain happens, when suffering happens, it doesn't know any national boundaries. And we applaud the United States government and the USCIS for recognizing that and giving Nepalis an opportunity to feel safe. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Gloria to come and give us a brief
appreciate being able to come out to the community to talk about USCIS,
what it means for us.
Thank you. Talk about information that is pertinent to you, to remove any barriers to the information, hopefully to dispel any misrepresented facts that are given, to give you a better understanding of the agency. And so, unfortunately, when you talk about temporary protective status and the fact that it took an earthquake or a natural disaster for this particular designation to occur, again, we sympathize with the tragedy, but our goal is to determine for those who are eligible for the benefit of temporary protective status that they do indeed take advantage of it. So when we talk about what are some of the benefits of temporary protective status, especially if someone is here and they're here unlawfully, during the designation, the things that a person does not have to worry about is, one, that they are not removable or they're not deportable from the United States when they apply for temporary protective status, and that they cannot be detained by ICE. And even though we talk about the Department of Homeland Security, a lot of people still confuse U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And even though we all are under the Department of Homeland Security, we have separate missions. And again, so U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, one of the components when INS was broken up, even though some people still say INS, we are the ones to give the humanitarian benefits such as TPS. And briefly, later on, maybe I'll talk just a little bit about our initiative regarding citizenship, because there may be some other immigration benefits that you're eligible for and not just temporary protective status. And so we want to make sure that for all the benefits that you're eligible for, with your attorney here, assistance, that you find out what the requirements are for filing. So again, some of the other benefits certainly are that you can get an employment authorization document. And so with that employment authorization document, that would give you the authority to work. And so maybe some of you all, or maybe you know of some people who are working now, but they may not be working lawfully. Hopefully having an employment authorization document will give them the opportunity to find a more advantageous job, to find a job that pays higher wages, because you have an employment authorization document that says to the employer, I am authorized to work. You can also apply for travel authorization. And again, so we understand that in light of this tragedy, again, the benefit of TPS being put in place, there are different designations for temporary protective status. So when we talk about temporary protective status for Nepal, we are in the initial designation. There are some other countries where you may have a redesignation. And so that means that you've got the dates that would have changed from when the initial registration took place to now for when people are eligible to apply. And you also have an extension. And so, but again, when we talk about Nepal TPS, we are talking about an initial registration because TPS had not existed before. So when we talk about what are the requirements for TPS, so you have to show, as it was mentioned earlier, that TPS for Nepal is effective from June 24th of this year through December 24th of 2016, okay? And so the designation means that this period for people who are nationals of Nepal, they won't be removed, and again, as I said, they'll be eligible to apply for an employment authorization. And so you have to show some things like you've been continuously physically present in the United States since June 24th, 2015. The primary forms that you use for temporary protective status are the I-821 form, which is the actual TPS form, and the I-765 form, which is the employment authorization form. And so one of the things about U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is all of our forms you can download, that you can download for free. And so why do I bring that up? Because when you go to download these immigration forms, you need to make sure that you are downloading them from the official government website. There are a lot of imposters out there. You know, natural disaster brings out people who are trying to scam people for their money, and so especially if you need immigration assistance, you would go to a reputable attorney, or you would find legal assistance with some community-based organizations that have applied through the immigration courts to be recognized to help those in the immigrant community with their immigration issues. And so again, when you are applying for temporary protective status, or if you already have your permanent residency and you're applying for citizenship maybe, again, if you need legal assistance, that you just don't go to anybody, that you go to somebody who understands immigration law. Maybe this is not the time to go to the attorney who practices tax law or who practices domestic violence law. That may not be the person for your immigration needs. Okay? And so when we talk about the I-821 and we talk about the I-765, there is also a fee waiver form. Now USCIS did not always have a fee waiver form. Before, you just self-certified saying that this is my financial condition and so I cannot afford the filing fees to pay. And so these are my circumstances, I'm telling the truth, and you sign your name. But we do have an I-912 form, a fee waiver form, that you would fill out. Only you know your personal family financial situation. And so I know that sometimes people are a little reluctant to file for fee waivers because they feel that if I file, that USCIS is going to put my application to the bottom of the stack. And I want to tell you that that's not true at all. That if you feel that you're eligible to file for a fee waiver, that you would indeed file the application, and that you would send it with your TPS application. You would send it with the I-765 application to the designated filing location. If there were any questions from the media, that's why Ms. Joanne is here tonight, to be able to address those particular questions. So I don't know if anybody had any questions. I also want to talk about, as I said, USCIS has an initiative regarding citizenship. Now, the wonderful thing about citizenship is the United States does not make you apply for citizenship. But just think, if you have been a permanent resident for 5 years or more, and you've pondered and you haven't quite made your decision there, you have not quite made up your mind yet that you may want to go ahead and consider citizenship. And so this is where our website becomes a wonderful resource for you, where you would look at uscis.gov and you would see, okay, the information that is available for citizenship, the information that is available for temporary protective status, or the information that is available regarding employment authorization. Or how do I even engage with the agency? You know, we live in a time where we don't want to use the website, and yet USCIS has put a lot of information out there, including the fact that we are the agency that owns the E-Verify system. The E-Verify system is an electronic system where an employer verifies that you're authorized to work. Well, there's a feature there, a self-check feature, where you can check your own status. So for your own security of mind to say, okay, I put in my information, I answer these questions, and the computer says, congratulations, you're authorized to work in the United States. So why do I bring
Ms. Williams-Waiver for that very, very useful and informative initial round of information on the TPS. We will take advantage of your presence and the presence of your colleague today by opening the floor up for further discussions. But before we go there, I'd like to recognize and invite, in fact, Ms. Anne Phan from the office of Senator Mark Warner to come and communicate with our community. We thank her very much for this outreach. The Nepali community is here to stay. This is our home, and it is so wonderful to have this relationship, begin this relationship with leaders of our community, and we thank them for taking notice of us, for recognizing our presence, and for working with us during these difficult times. Ms. Anne Phan.
Thank you very much. Namaste. I had the opportunity to celebrate New Year's with maybe a few of you earlier here in Manassas, and I enjoyed that very much. So thank you very much for having me. I am an outreach representative for U.S. Senator Mark Warner, who was re-elected last November. So he's the senior senator for Virginia, along with Tim Kaine. They're both of our U.S. senators, and we are just very happy to be able to assist you in any way that we can. Specifically, I work out of the Northern Virginia office, and Northern Virginia is my region. We have 5 different offices all throughout Virginia, and each of our offices works with Virginians of all different backgrounds for different agencies. And we're kind of lucky because the Northern Virginia office is the office that works on immigration, on visas, on passports, and we also do healthcare, Medicaid issues. So if you have any issues in any of these federal agencies, you would be going through the Northern Virginia office where I work. And it's tremendously important work. We love and we live to serve all of Virginians. A little bit more about some of the other offices around Virginia. So if you have issues regarding education, or if you have a military background and you need veterans benefits or working with the Veterans Administration, you would go to a different office down in Norfolk. If you have issues with the IRS, we would send you or route you to a staff specialist in Roanoke, and so on and so forth, Department of Interior and stuff like that. But you don't have to go anywhere. You would just, go to one office and they would take care of you. So I'm happy to say that Northern Virginia would be helping with TPS applications. We definitely don't want to be driving in USCIS lanes, but we definitely work very closely together with that agency. And because we have that kind of relationship, it works very well and very smoothly. So again, we are at your service. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you need assistance of any kind. Unfortunately, we don't have any in language for Nepali yet, but I can help in Vietnamese myself, and in our office we have someone who speaks Farsi as well as Spanish. And please do not be shy or hesitant about reaching out to our office for assistance. Senator Warner, is very welcoming and very happy to be of assistance to any Virginian. Thank you very much.
Ms. Ann Phan from the office of Senator Mark Warner. It was our pleasure to have you here, and please give Senator Warner our heartfelt gratitude for this outreach. Thank you very much. And also convey to him that next New Year's, we hope he'll join us for our Nepali New Year's. Okay, now moving along, the next speaker is Attorney Laba Karki, Dr. Laba Karki. He is from the law office of Dr. Karki PC. It is a very good fortune for us to have in our midst an attorney with experience in the field of immigration. As Ms. Williams-Brewer mentioned, this is a time when we look for immigration attorneys and not tax or criminal attorneys. And very fortunate to have him in our midst. He will share some of his first-hand experience. Right after that, we will open the floor up. Volunteers will transport the mic into the audience. And my request to you is that some of these issues that you face are complex. So it is best to use our mother tongue to express our individual questions. And we will be very happy to translate that into English. If you feel English is fine, that's also completely not a problem. तर कहिलेकाहीँ हामीहरूको आफ्नो व्यक्तिगत अनुभव र व्यक्तिगत प्रश्न अलि जटिल प्रकारका हुने भएकोले नेपालीमा सोध्नु भयो भने सम्पूर्णता हुन्छ, आफूलाई भन्न मन लागेको कुरा सबै भन्न पाइन्छ। त्यसै कारणले हामी अंग्रेजीमा उहाँलाई चाहिँ दोभाषीको काम गर्दै आउँछौँ, त्यसमा केही समस्या छैन। हस् त, Attorney Karki, please. Very informative, and down the road, if there are questions, after we have exhausted and picked Ms. Brewer's brains, then perhaps the community will have questions for you as well. But now I want to ask the audience to join in. So please, again, your questions can be in Nepali or English. If they're in English, that's fine. If it's in Nepali, we'll be very happy to translate for you.
Make a decision within 90 days. And then we do understand that because you've got so many countries applying for employment authorization, that there have been some delays. But this is where, when you apply, if you have not heard a response to your employment authorization within 90 days, that you would contact our customer service department to find out, are you in the backlog, or you would check online our case status to see what the service center's current processing time is.
And if I plan to go back to my country, so is there any issue to come back?
So as a travel on TPS by itself, we were talking about the teleconference about, can I apply for advanced parole, or temporary protective status does not give you an immigration benefit. What it's saying is, because of whatever natural disaster or something that happened at home, it is unsafe for me to go back. And so this is where you would seek legal counsel to determine it wouldn't be a good idea to just leave and assume I can come back because I've been granted TPS.
And there are a little confusion if they apply for temporarily protected status like TPS, and then is that F1 status, they will lose their F1 status, or after 18 months if they don't, if after 18 months, if it's not continue TPS, they lose the status for the F1, or it will continue? That is.
What are the benefits that USCIS is given? Remember, temporary protective status is given for an 18-month designation, and it's at the discretion of the Secretary of Homeland Security. And so that discretion is based on, after the 18 months has passed, is the condition that caused TPS still the way it was before? So will it be renewed or will it not be renewed? When you look at our website, USCIS.com, if the F1 is still, remember the F1 is usually given for duration of status. Okay. So it's like, yes, if you're still in school.
Okay, there's going to be disconnect. Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Your physical presence. Yes, sir.
On the cut-off date, you talked about 24th, right? So that means you have to be here before 24th, you have to be here on 24th, or start since 25th. Can you explain that, please?
So,
actually, I will put this question in Nepali, and I think I would like to request Dr. Karki to interpret it in English. जस्तै म चाहिँ नेपालबाट आएर यहाँ बसिरहेको छु र मैले केस गरेर मैले USCIS-मा मेरो नेगेटिभ भयो र त्यसपछि मेरो चाहिँ केस अहिले चाहिँ कोर्टमा छ र कोर्टमा 2017 को नोभेम्बरमा चाहिँ मेरो कोर्टमा केस हाजिर लेखेको छ र मैले यसमा अब अहिले नेपाल गएर आउन पाउने हुन्छ कि हुँदैन त्यसबाट TPS को बेनिफिट छ त्यो अनुसार के सक्दैन.
Okay, thank you. The question is this, I'm from Nepal and I filed for asylum, but my asylum case was referred to the judge and the hearing date is set for 2018. And my question is whether I can go back to Nepal or not. Okay, this is my question, this is my answer to your question is that it depends. There are two types of processes. One is before the immigration officer and the other one is before the immigration judge. Once your case has already been gone to the judge, it is very difficult to get a travel document to go back to your country. However, if your case is still pending, then you can still get a travel document to go, not necessarily to your country, but maybe to Nepal, India, or to Bangladesh, and then maybe able to travel from there to Nepal.
Okay, like if I want to go to India, then it is...
Yes, it is possible. Because I do have clients that did that, because if it is pending, you have a chance to get advance parole for humanitarian reasons. And it has to be explained that this is due to earthquake and therefore, it depends on how you know.
2017 November,
right.
And if I want to visit India, not Nepal, right. Then if I can apply for the travel document and there is chances of getting approved. It
is up to the officer.
मानवताको आधारमा नेपालमा भूकम्प गएपछि humanitarian ground.
As the attorney said, you can't expect USCIS to guarantee you an approval. That's why you apply for the benefit to see. So it's discretionary, case by case. Okay? So we can't guarantee anything.
Okay, I understood you. You can't guarantee, but if I apply and you approve my travel document, then I can.
Yeah.
If it is approved.
Yes.
So if it is not approved, then I will.
Yeah, if it's approved.
My question is about F1 status. Right now I'm in college, but if my TPS gets approved, can I withhold like student going to college for the time being and work with the work authorization for 18 months, and after that can I get back, or do I have to continue F1 status to get back to F1?
Earlier. And so now, as an F1 student, you have to make a decision. If TPS had never come about, what would be the immigration benefit that I would be eligible for? Because F1 status is for the duration of stay. So if I have optical practical training at the end of my graduation, The expectation is I would finish my studies, I would finish that 1 year practical training, and then I would go home. So now I find that I'm eligible for TPS. And so now, what is the benefit to me? We can't advise you on that. The only thing that we can say is apply for whatever you feel you are eligible for. And so in that case, if you're saying, okay, if I apply for TPS and I'm granted, it's going to give me 18 months. It's going to give me an employment authorization document that I'll be able to work on. That's going to take me a little longer than my F1 status. That's a personal decision for you to make. Seeing you as an F1 student anymore. We are seeing you as
in some financial need. TPS comes along, this is a genuine case. You know, their parents back home are not able to send money because of their own personal crises. So this individual decides, hey, the TPS comes along, 18 months, I'm going to work and I'm going to amass some money. And then when this is expired or if it doesn't get renewed, my question then is, follow-up to that is, does getting a TPS jeopardize your chances of reverting back to a student visa when the TPS status is over? Or is the door still open for somebody like him to say, okay, TPS is almost over, I have 3 months more, I'm going to reapply to a school and get admitted and get back on a student visa?
Research indicates that you can apply for TPS and नेपालीमा चाहिँ के छ मैले मेरो अनुसन्धान अनुसार चाहिँ TPS पनि गर्न सकिन्छ, F1 मा पनि हुन सकिन्छ। दुईटै किसिमको इमिग्रेसन स्ट्याटस होल्ड गर्न सकिन्छ नेपालमा। तर
सकिन्छ कि एउटा छोडेर काम गरेर
हजुर
अनि काम 18 महिना भएपछि ग्रेडको क्लासमा चाहिँ लिएर बस्नु दिन्छ कि मैले फुल लिएर बस्नु
हुन्छ तपाईको जवाबमा F1 स्ट्याटस सिद्धिहाल्यो नि अब पछि तपाईले रिएप्लाई गर्नुभयो र लिनुभयो F1 स्ट्याटस ब्याक पनि तपाईको जिम्माको कुरो हो नत्र भने TPS लिने बित्तिकै तपाईको अरु जुनसुकै स्ट्याटस त्यो सिद्धिहाल्यो पछि गएर TPS चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू भएन भने तपाईको स्ट्याटस त्यही सिद्धियो र त्यो TPS को अलिकति बाँकी हुँदै अर्को स्ट्याटस एप्लाई गर्नुभयो भने हुन्छ नत्र भनेदेखि त्यो TPS भनेको टेम्परेरी प्रोटेक्सन हो अनि त्यो टेम्परेरी टाइम सिद्धिएपछि फेरि ब्याकमा जान पाउनुहुन्न तर तपाई स्टुडेन्ट हुँदै हुनुहुन्छ भने काम गर्नको लागि मात्रै TPS गर्नको लागि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ
मैले अरु अटर्नीहरुसँग सोध्दाखेरि पनि यदि F1 स्ट्याटसमै हुने छ भनेदेखि TPS ले चाहिँ काम गर्ने मात्रै फाइदा दिन्छ र बाहिर जानलाई फाइदा दिन्छ तर यहाँको स्ट्याटस आउट अफ स्ट्याटस स्टुडेन्ट हुने बित्तिकै अर्को स्ट्याटस फेरि त्यो स्टुडेन्ट स्ट्याटस आउनलाई फेरि अर्को भिसा गर्नुपर्छ अथवा नेपाल जानुपर्छ यु क्यान गो ब्याक टु नेपाल एन्ड गेट योर भिसा स्ट्याटस एन्ड कम ब्याक इमिग्रेन्ट स्ट्याटस while you are on TPS that is my understanding and research based on what I have done before okay तर आउट अफ स्ट्याटस होइन दुईटा स्ट्याटस भनेको ब्याकअप स्ट्याटस हुन्छ भनेर भनेको छ कस्तो भने अब F1 हुँदाखेरि पनि TPS को यु क्यान ह्याभ एज अ स्टुडेन्ट सिरियनहरु स्टुडेन्ट्सले गरेको छ धेरै स्टुडेन्ट्सहरुले त्यसो गरेको
once they get approved for this or can they maintain that?
Why am I applying for TPS? If I'm here as a tourist, by definition, I'm supposed to be here for pleasure, for a short amount of time. I'm not really supposed to be shopping for a school program to see if they're going to prepare an I-20 for me. I'm supposed to be here for pleasure, looking at the monuments, and then going home after 3 months or whatever time was giving them on I-94. But if you're eligible for TPS, because you overstayed your visitor's visa and you currently are out of status, and you can show that as of June 24th you have been in the United States, and if you have the filing fee for the I-765 or you file the fee waiver, then you apply for TPS. Remember, TPS does not lead to an immigration benefit. What TPS is saying, I was here as a visitor, I didn't go home timely, I am really deportable, but because of this immigration relief put in place, you cannot deport me because I'm eligible to receive TPS. Will ICE realistically come looking for you? Because I heard about the fear earlier. How do you get people to apply for something that they're eligible to apply for? The Department of Homeland Security, our mission is to protect the homeland. Do we have the resources to come after every overstayed visitor for every overstay F1 student and round them up realistically? Realistically, no. We're supposed to be trying to thwart the plot that may have been planned for July 4th so that the homeland could be protected. You've got to make some decisions. But as of now, if you don't apply for TPS, according to the law, for the 180 days that you accumulate of unlawful presence, you've already subjected yourself to a bar. We have the right to deport you. Or rather, ICE has the right, because U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services doesn't have enforcement authority. We don't prepare the paperwork. ICE prepares the paperwork. But you have subjected yourself to immigration proceedings. So you have to make a decision. Do I get scared and stay in hiding and stay illegal? Or do I take advantage of this particular designation that had not existed before June 14th of this year? Do I take advantage of it? And the registration period doesn't stay open forever. Do I file for it? Do I get an employment authorization document? Do I find an employer willing to pay me more money than I'm making now so that I can send money home to my family? It's your decision.
The second question looks like more specific. Let me read the text what I got here. Asylum case was filed after 2-3 years and already case was decided from court and asylum was not granted and removal withholding. But at the design time, appeal was waived because that was made by court. So on this case, if the person gets TPS status and go out from US and came back, could he reopen the case? If so, most probably what would be the case?
I think it depends on the judge, and also it's similar to the question that Mr. Husband asked before. I think the issue is whether you can go into another country and come back, and that is really, there are two phases of asylum that I said before. One is after the post-interview, and one is before the interview. After the interview, you're in the removal proceeding. So anytime you try to do something like that, go outside the country, they're trying to remove you. So therefore, like Mr. Pearl said, it's very risky. Unless there is a very big humanitarian reason, and there are some exceptions. Like in this case, if your father or mother died, you have to go. And
yeah, now is a humanitarian reason because Nepal is having really, devastating time, and he may have some, loss of property or family or anything. In this case, is there an immigration policy that you will be interviewing an immigration by the time he get in, or?
Yeah, I think like I said before, if you do get advance parole, I think it's highly likely that you can return. I haven't had any clients who has been denied entry with advance parole. So it depends on the officer or judge who's going to give you the advance parole. But like I said, I think it's humanitarian grounds that you have to state that your parents died, your father is sick or something, and then you have to go. So in that case, yeah.
I'd like to ask, I'm a student, international student, I'd like to ask if, it's 90 days, right? It's like waiver is for 90 days. Is it like time consuming for a student, or if I apply for it, can I work in between or for the employment?
The employment authorization document is a document that shows that you are lawfully able to work. To work without it means that you're working unlawfully. Now, whether you prepare an employer, to say, okay, I'm applying for this, can you wait for me, to offer me a position? But remember, that's why you're applying for the document, because you've got a responsibility, and the employer has a responsibility to hire those who can lawfully show that they're authorized to work. So don't work without the employment authorization document.
That I'm affected or by the earthquake or something like that.
For the fee waiver, or what?
No, I'm from Nepal, and do I have to submit any?
No, no, you just fill out the I-821 form, filling out the questions, answering the questions that are on it. You fill out the employment authorization document. And so you fill out where it talks about establishing your presence in the United States. You get your documents together to show that. So again, you follow the filing instructions. We're not going to ask you anything more than what the filing instruction says. We're not picking on you because you're from Nepal versus the Haitian TPS applicant, okay?
There was a Virginia case where if you are a TPS holder, then you might be qualifying for in-state rather than out-of-state tuition. So I think it's to your advantage to apply for TPS and then try for in-state tuition. So you might get that.
Green card, and I'm planning to do TPS. Does that impact his processing? No? And later on, I need to add my name also on that. So how does that work?
So he should add your name regardless. On the I-45 form, when he goes to fill that out, and it asks the biographical family members, if he's married to you, when he fills out the form, he should list his wife. He shouldn't miraculously have a wife when it's time for him later on to be interviewed, and he wants to talk about the wife that he didn't list. We may look at that a little strange.
Yes. He can travel. The issue is not leaving the United States. The issue is the country he's traveling to, what are their requirements to be admitted? Because he'll show his permanent residency card to the officer when he comes back from the airport for the United States. So do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So for our purposes, leaving the United States, we don't care. So it's going to be based on what are the admission requirements for where he's going. For our purposes, to be admitted back at the United States, his permanent residency card is fine.
Doesn't have a visa to go to Nepal, and he's kind of offering to go to Nepal just in case he cannot come back to the US. Can he keep like TPS and H1B visa, or?
And if you are a Nepali citizen, you can qualify for TPS. And if your employer wants to hire you as an H1B, then of course you can have H1 status. So having two status at the same time is not inconsistent with the US immigration policy. In fact, they encourage you to do both. Because that way, I think the USCIS also generates revenue, right? As well as, if there's a problem with your H1B, then you can always fall back into TPS. Should the TPS continue for many, many years, like in Haiti, it's been 5 years. But if H1 somehow the status goes out of status, then you have a TPS as a fallback option. And then you can go back to Nepal, get your visa stamp from a new employer. So there's a lot of benefits that you can play with as a TPS holder. And that's why I encourage you to definitely file for TPS.
Do not deport me. So those of you who have F1 status, you have a particular status. If you have H1 or H4 status, you have a particular status. We're talking about the person who came as a tourist and they're still here 2 years later. We're talking about the person who is deportable, if the truth were known. So even though you could be eligible to apply for both, I can't sit here and encourage you to circumvent the law. That's not our job. Again, TPS is for the person who would be deportable otherwise, because as of today, they are here unlawfully.
And file for TPS. In fact, if you're other temporary visa holders and should TPS continue for many, many years, there's advantage in having TPS. But I think what she's saying is for illegal and out of status. But that's not true, because there are H1, there's other L1, there are so many visa categories who are from Nepal. And if you are from Nepal, then you can get TPS. I think that's what he says. He doesn't say if you are from Nepal and out of status that you can get TPS. So I would like to respectfully disagree to that last comment.
Right. Do you have to pay for both for fingerprint, or only one fee is applicable for both TPS and work permit?
His TPS status came back. He decided, why don't I take advantage of it? Like, you work for 18 months, so he decided to apply for it. So my concern is, if just in case there is no guarantee to get TPS status approved, so if it's get denied, and if you go back in the country, when he come back in the future, does that count as an extended stay in the US, or it doesn't count as an extended stay in the US?
Those people who have TPS, I think the government has said that you are still lawfully present. So you're not accruing any unlawful presence. So you can always go back and come back on a new visa. So don't worry about being out of status, because you have TPS as a backup, for that. So a lot of people are taking advantage of this situation to try to get this status when Nepal is undergoing crisis, and I think we should do so. The lawful presence will continue if you are on TPS.
The USCIS materials that we have in the back, we bought some TPS forms, we bought some citizenship forms, we bought some information about citizenship, some information that would be helpful. how do I find legal immigration assistance, to remember to go to the official USCIS.gov website. And again, we thank you all. Again, remember, for the information that is out there, that you separate the fact from the fiction, and that you don't let your fear keep you from applying from whatever benefit you're eligible for. So on behalf of USCIS and the
American Nepal Helping Society, Mr. Regmi, to do an official closing.
Today's workshop could be really fruitful to all of us who really need it. And it's special, today's session. I would like to thank you, warmly thank you, Miss Gloria Williamson Waiver, for her valuable time and knowledge to share. And I would like to a special thank you to Miss Joni M. Ferreira for her whole this week, we work, here and there to get approval through the headquarters to here. So once again, please, give a round of applause for her. And I would like to thank you, Miss Ann Sipon. She's from Senator Mark R. Warner's office. It's very short of period. We just able to hold her back, and she came here and shared her thought towards our community. So again, round of applause for her. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Dr. Lal Karki, for his valuable legal questions, answers. I think it's really fruitful. Whoever need answers, he able to answer. And again, once again, thank you for Mr. Pahari for your time, and thank you, Mr. Ram Karel, thank you, Mr. Visuras Thapa, and thank you all the community leaders, respective, community members, senior citizens, sisters, brothers. I would like to close today's, our this TPS program. Thank you so much.
So I'd like to ask something about fundraising. Currently I'm a student, and what if I apply for TPS and side by side my work in between while extending my visa for later on in the future? Is that a factor, or does it make a difference?
Well, unfortunately, because privacy laws in the US, I cannot answer your question. I need to protect your privacy. My recommendation is that you contact our offices and make an appointment with InfoPass. You can explain your situation, and basically they will see what are the requirements. If you're here on a legal status basis, you don't need TPS. TPS is more for those that are here that have been here on an unlegal status as of June 24th this year. My recommendation is, you have any questions, concerns, go to our website at uscis.gov to check the information, or call and make an appointment. Don't be afraid. We're there to give you the information that you need.